tells us what they were thinking when they wrote the Constitution. Because, you know, if you sat down and wrote a Constitution right now, and then you wanted to sell it, the sell material, the marketing material, would be far more expensive than the thing you were trying to sell. So if we wanted to 100 years from now to understand what was going through your head, we'd read not so much the Constitution, but what you wrote to sell it. That gives you the inner workings of your mind. And that's why constitutional scholars love reading the Federalist Papers, because at least you get Hamilton and Jay's. And understand, these are New Yorkers. So it says more about the state of what New Yorkers felt about the Constitution than anything else. Oh, well, the man's my hero. First of all, he started the bank.
I would have went for it.
No, he's got to go. Yes. It makes sense. When you learn about Hamilton's background and what he was as a young man, 19, 20, 21. No. He started the bank, and here was his philosophy about the bank. Now, nobody liked the central bank. What he said, look, he saw a global economy. Even back in 89, 87, 88, 89, he knew this as a 21-year-old and a 22-year-old. Loved commerce, loved business. And he said, if you don't have a medium of exchange for all of the colonies, then we're never going to be able to do any trade, because you're going to trade with Georgia, but you won't be able to trade with the Massachusetts Bay Colony because they got their script and these guys have their script. So we need a bank. And the bank's role was to finance. I think what he said was, we need a central bank or a central government to not entice, what's the word, and incentivize the development of industry here in the United States. Because otherwise there's not going to be any incentive. Everybody's going to run a little business for their own little town. And he said, we'll never be able to grow this economy. He envisioned, these guys, you got to understand, they envisioned this. They wouldn't be surprised at what they did. This is what they were planning for. This is what they envisioned. They envisioned this massively, this country that was wealthy beyond, we got more wealth here and we export this wealth, we export these people. These guys were visionaries. It isn't genius, it's being a visionary. It's being able to see something and then lay the foundation for what it is that they see that they'll never benefit from. So Hamilton understood that we needed to incentivize industry and business in this country, and his feeling, he always felt, that you could do that best from a central location. But that doesn't mean that he believed that a central location should tell the people what to do. All he was trying to do was organize an economy. That's what drove him, was organizing an economy and organizing commerce and organizing, so that and then that's why the limitations in the Constitution is this is what the federal government does, and then everything else still belongs to the states. It's the only way you could
interstate commerce.
Yeah, it's the only way you could sell to the states, and you had to allow for interstate commerce, or the country wouldn't grow. So Hamilton gets a bad rap as being, he just gets a bad rap. And I think Ron from Canton, now Ron from Berkeley, used to call him whack. Going to the virtues of Alexander Hamilton. And like, why? Because he was a lousy shot? I mean, what was wrong with him? Here. Anyway, so that's the history lesson of the day. All I'm going to say is it's not just enough to read the Constitution. That's swell. It's important. But it's short. Understand? It's short. And it doesn't matter because the Democrats believe the Commerce Clause covers everything. So that's the only thing. But Hamilton would agree, it does, but he never envisioned the Commerce Clause this. But just if you read the Federalist Papers, the woman here, where did she go?
She's right behind you.
No, the other woman.
Oh, she just left. No, she left.
She left. She's right. Read about Hamilton first. Then read the Federalist Papers, and then the Constitution. As she said, the whole thing will come together. Because Hamilton, as a young man in his 20s, was quite the fellow. He had a lot of ideas. They saw possibilities that other people didn't see, and they just converged. They didn't know each other. They just all converged at the same time. The other thing you should remember is this: they pledged their lives and their fortunes.
Yeah. And lost too.
And their property. And every last one of them knew that if they didn't win, they'd be hung. Yep. Now that's guts.
Yeah.
That's walking the walk.
That's walking the walk. They knew they'd all be hung. Not the people. They wouldn't be hung. When was the last time we had a leader in this country who would pledge his life and his fortune for his constituents? Can you imagine? That's courage.